Welcome everyone to PopCultX episode 66. This episode, we are bringing you all of the Comic-Con news that we're able to muster and handle, giving our reactions. Of course, I am Gabriel, and as always, my co-host Danny. And we will be sharing our Generation X perspective on all the things that happened related to Comic-Con this past weekend and see what our thoughts are. Maybe they are in alignment with yours, maybe not. So we'll go ahead and see what we think. So a lot of stuff to unpack here this week. So Marvel pretty much, I think, dominated Comic-Con.
Yeah.
Most of the headlines were about Marvel news. One of the big, probably the largest media focus was on Black Panther, Wakanda Lives.
Wakanda Forever.
Wakanda Forever, yeah. It just the trailer alone, I think people were freaking out. I think they did a really great job to playing tribute to Chadwick Boseman. We obviously don't know the full plot, but it appears as though maybe Black Panther has passed away.
Did you see there was a synopsis released by Marvel? Yeah, and I saved that image of it just because I wanted to talk about it. So if you want me to read it to you, I can, and maybe get your reaction. So Queen Ramonda, Shuri, M'Baku, Okoye, and the Dora Milaje fight to protect their nation from intervening world forces in the wake of King T'Challa's death. As the Wakandans strive to embrace their next chapter, the heroes must band together with the help of War Dog Nakia and Everett Ross and forge a new path for the Kingdom of Wakanda. That was a synopsis release.
So it's a little bit of art imitating life. I think they decided that they did not want to get another actor to play Black Panther.
Yeah.
That is somewhat of a controversial move, as there is a large movement online to make Chadwick Boseman's legacy as Black Panther continue. People don't want to see Black Panther's character just end with Chadwick Boseman's passing and, killing off Black Panther in the movie. They want to see, and they state that, Chadwick knew how important that character was to the community. And so they felt that he would want it to continue with another actor. But as of now, it appears as though we're not going to get another actor portraying Black Panther. The rumor is someone else is going to pick up the mantle, whether that is his sister Shuri, his mom, Queen Ramonda, or his love interest. Or the leader of the Dora Milaje, I forget her name, Okoye. There's a lot of rumors that one of those people will become the female Black Panther, which is cool. In the comics, Shuri does become Black Panther for a period of time. So that would be true to the comics. My feeling is I'm going to withhold judgment until I see what they do. They obviously had a relationship with Chadwick Boseman. They know him much better than the fans do. So if they've determined that this is the best way to honor him, them being his colleagues, his friends, people that knew him and worked with him for quite some time, I'm going to give it the benefit of the doubt that maybe they know what's best at this time. And moving forward, there may be a possibility that, maybe they will bring him back, the character Black Panther and T'Challa with a different actor. But as of right now, it's just, this is what we assume is going to happen. So I'm going to wait to see what they do, because I do trust that they're going to do right by him, because they obviously have very strong feelings for him and want to, uphold his legacy. So what are your thoughts in regards to that?
Well, I think Ryan Coogler, the director, said it best. I saw a clip of his when he was talking about it in Hall H at Comic-Con, is that when they did the first Black Panther movie and they were watching the very first scenes or dailies, I guess, when they were all together watching the first clip of it, Chadwick Boseman and he said this, that these huge hands was gripping onto his shoulder really tightly as the scene progressed. And by the end, he could hardly lift his hand or his arm up because that's how tight he was squeezing him, because Chadwick Boseman was just so enthralled with it and excited about it. And that he said with he got this feeling and sense that even though Chadwick Boseman isn't with this physically, his spirit is still there with us and in the movie. And he said that he could feel Chadwick Boseman's hand on his shoulder while they were recording and going through this movie. So I think, like you said, trust those people that know him best to honor him. Yeah. Trust those people who created the first movie to know what they're doing with this second movie and the story and where it's going. I think whoever they decide is going to pick up the mantle of Black Panther, which we saw a little clip at the end of the teaser trailer, that we know he is going to be there, or someone as Black Panther is going to be there. That to trust that we have to have that trust in these storytellers. Yeah. So yeah.
The other big thing is that we got our first glimpse of Tenoch Huerta as Namor, the Submariner, in all of his glory. I got chills. I think he looks dope. It was just the briefest of glimpses that we were allowed to have of him, but he has, that Mayan Aztec imagery with his headdress, his uniform, the scenery. It looks really cool. It looks like they are using a lot of indigenous Mexican actors. To portray the Atlanteans. So I'm super excited about that. Like I'm glad to see that we will be receiving that representation in the MCU. So that just makes me more excited for it because I'm a big Black Panther fan. And now I'm even more excited because I cannot wait to see what they do with this character.
Right. And when I first saw that, and the actor portraying it, I thought of you because what you've been saying all along is that we were waiting for the Latinx moment to appear in the MCU, not as an alien, not as a different colored person, but as an actual Aztecian or Mayan heritage. And of course, this version of Namor, I guess, has a dual heritage, so half Atlantean, half Mayan, and it just looks fantastic. I was excited by it. I was like, yes, finally, it's going to be so cool. I'm waiting to see how they tell the story, because I don't know Namor's storyline that well. I know he's like the first mutant, I guess they say, but is he a good guy, bad guy? I know he was an Avenger or an X-Man. So
I think he's one of those kind of people that has a complicated history because it's sort of like a love-hate relationship with humanity or with the quote good guys because he has his own people that he's trying to protect.
Yeah.
And so it's that duality of like trying to protect his people, protect Americans because that's who the comics typically portray, or humans. I don't know a lot about him, to be honest. I've never really cared about that character, which I think is what's interesting about introducing him with this Latinx flair is that I think you're going to gain a lot more followers and a lot more fans of that character versus losing people. There's a lot of racist people that are running their mouth about how they're not fans, and they're definitely going to gain more fans than they are going to lose it. So I'm really excited to learn more about him and see what sort of mythology they've created for the character and see where they take him.
Yeah, like my only knowledge of him was I was reading the Avengers versus X-Men series from 2015 or 2012, whatever, and he took on some of the Phoenix power from that storyline, and it was interesting. It was pretty cool, and like you said, he was looking out for his people. That's like his main directive is protecting his people, whether it be Atlanteans or mutants or whatnot. So that's where his I think driving story arc is going to be at.
Yeah. So that was by far not all that was discussed at Comic-Con. So some of the other things that came about is I got to see in a panel some sneak peeks of X-Men 97, which is a continuation of the animated series of the X-Men from back in the day. They're keeping the cast, so the voices are going to be the same. The animation is very similar. So I'm really excited to see where they're going. Their big surprise, or what they allowed us to know about it is that Professor X is gone and Magneto is going to be the leader of the X-Men and heading the school for gifted mutants or youngsters or what have you. And so that's going to be the twist. You're going to see Mr. Sinister, I think, is going to be in it. They're Gonna have Sunspot make an appearance. So I think that's really cool because he is Afro-Brazilian. So I think that's kind of a cool thing. He's always been one of my favorite characters in the New Mutants. So it looks really cool. So that I'm looking forward to that. I also got to see a full mini episode of I Am Groot, which is full on family animation style. It's not adult. This is for kids. It's really cute. It was really funny. It was a short. They're a series of animated shorts.
Mm-hmm.
So nothing too deep. But it looks like they are going to have Rocket Raccoon making a surprise guest appearance on that.
Nice.
But it's basically Groot as a young entity,
Sapling.
Out in the world experiencing things for the first time. So
that's cool.
That's really cool. So that was really another cool thing that I was able to sit in on a panel and take a look at. What was the other one? There was What If. I got to see a full episode of What If.
Season 2? Okay.
Yeah, this one was part of season 2. This was What If Agent Carter fought now I can't remember, Hydra Stomper or Hydra Killer or whatever. So it's Captain America, Steve Rogers in that What If universe doesn't become the super soldier. Right. Captain Carter does.
Like kind of what they did in the first season, yeah.
Yeah, he wears the Hydra Stomper, I think that's what it's called, right? Hydra Stomper suit, and to fight Hydra. That's what this first episode.
Oh, right. I know what you're talking about. Yeah. He does wear that suit. Yeah.
Yeah. And so this is a continuation sort of that story. And Black Widow makes an appearance. The animation style is really cool. And it was a really cool episode. So I got to see that before everyone else out in the world got to see. So I was pretty
lucky you.
About that. Yeah. And I think that was it as far as that particular panel. But what other news out of Comic-Con came out that you saw?
Well, there was a lot of, sticking with Marvel, a lot of live action shows and movies announced. So we knew Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania. We saw some new images come out from that. Secret Invasion in spring of 23. We know Guardians of the Galaxy 3 is coming out. There was Echo, Loki season 2, The Marvels. And did you hear that The Marvels might include some musical numbers to it as well?
I saw that.
That's pretty cool.
What is cool is that I never knew that Brie Larson wasn't Scott Pilgrim and that she sang has a musical number in that. And I saw it and I'm like, that was really cool. So now I'm really excited to see what they're going to do with that.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah.
They also announced Blade Ironheart, which is interesting because I just started reading the what's it called? Invincible Iron Man series with and Ironheart's in it. So I'm learning about Ironheart's character. So now they announced this show and I was like, oh, cool. So it's pretty cool seeing that. Agatha, Coven of Chaos, and I'll skip one, but Captain America, New World Order, which is exciting. Sam Wilson as Captain America. I'm excited for that. Thunderbolts, and the biggest one for me personally, and it's going to be an 18-episode arc, which is exciting that they announced this already, Kevin Feige did, is Daredevil Born Again. I don't know if it's going to be 18 one-hour episodes or if it's going to be 18 30-minute episodes. I can't imagine it'd be 30 minutes in a drama, but I'm super excited about that. It's going to Daredevil's become probably my favorite character from Marvel.
That's interesting.
Yeah, and I'm really excited. They already announced Charlie Cox, Vincent D'Onofrio coming back as Kingpin, and I'm really excited to see where they go with that. Because with Born Again, that's the whole Frank Miller story arc run. But they kind of did that series, that set on Netflix season 3 of Daredevil, where he's recovering, gave up the mantle of Daredevil, didn't want to do it anymore, and then he gets back into it. So I'm curious to see where they're going to go with that. And I just try to get my hands on all things Daredevil right now.
Yeah. That's cool. The other thing that we saw of Daredevil related was that he makes an appearance within the She-Hulk Disney
at the very
Plus.
end of that teaser trailer. Yeah,
that was something else that they shared, a full trailer. Looks like it's very heavy on humor. That her and her cousin, the Hulk, have a little bit of a competitive nature. I mean, she kind of in some of the clips, kind of does one better than him when it comes to yoga, throwing stuff, and so that's kind of cool. Some people are not sold on how she looks. I think she looks pretty cool. Hopefully they'll clean up the imaging a little bit, before it premieres. But it still looks pretty cool. I'm pretty excited about it. It looks like it's going to be really funny. A lot of characters are going to be on the show. So you have, I think it's Titania, who is her. I want to say that I'm saying that correctly. Titania is her arch enemy that's going to be on it. Abomination is on it, in it. The Hulk is in it. And then at the very end of the trailer, we see that Daredevil is in it.
Which makes sense, right? As a lawyer and a vigilante. So, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, that's really cool. That's something else that's really exciting to see. That actor that portrays Daredevil, I forgot to mention this, also is going to be appearing as a voice on Spider-Man freshman year. Yeah.
Yep.
And so that was something else that I got to see was character designs are going to kind of go back to like an old school kind of traditional comic book look, which is kind of cool. And something to look forward to. So that's kind of another thing that's interesting. There's so much that's coming out. It's like almost overwhelming.
Yeah, it is. And it's funny because I was thinking about this, and I think I tweeted about it, is that we've talked about this before. Is Marvel oversaturating the live action animation, series, movies? Are they oversaturating their stuff? Is it too much?
Yeah.
But then we get all these announcements and we're like, no, it's not. It's not. Bring it on. Give us more. Because I think the way they have it spread out, at least for Phase 5, which is what we're getting into after Wakanda Forever, it's going to flow nicely. And especially when it gets to Phase 6, when we get the Avengers Secret War, Fantastic Four announcement finally, and the other Avenger movie, what is it, Multiverse Saga or something. I think they're all going to tie it and lead up to that. But I think it's great. I think it's really cool.
There is a bit of a multiverse fatigue that I feel is going to be coming soon because everyone is doing multiverses and we'll see.
That's what's so cool about Daredevil, though. He's street level. He's going to be, he's not going to be flying around to different universes. It's all going to be right there, probably in Hell's Kitchen. And it's just going to be, tangible and more relatable to us as viewers.
Yeah, let's hope so. So some of the other stuff that came out of Comic-Con was some DC related stuff. So Marvel didn't completely dominate. They showed The Rock made a really grand appearance as Black Adam at Comic-Con. I wasn't there to see it, but he made an appearance. They did release the trailer for Shazam.
Gods of Fury or something.
Yeah, it's a little
Fury
weird.
Of the Gods.
I'm still a little not sold on what's his name. Zach Levi, is that the guy that plays?
Yeah.
Shazam, Captain Marvel. He doesn't really measure up for me when it comes to Shazam, because Shazam in the comics is like he's almost bigger than Superman, the way they draw him or the way he is represented, and he's just not. Like, he has just like a very skinny neck. He just kind of looks like a tall, dorky guy, and the fact that they play up that side of his personality of like being a dorky teenager kind of makes it even worse. Helen Mirren is in it, right? She's going to be one of the maybe the enemy or the villain in the movie.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So they showed her, and I don't know. I'm not really sold. It's not like one of my favorite movies. I did enjoy it. I did really like it.
It was fun. Yeah.
But it's a little too funny. I don't know. It's a little too, family friendly, maybe too goofy for me. The other one was that DC came out. What was the other one that came out with DC? Shazam, Black Adam. Was that it?
I don't know, because I didn't really follow along DC that much.
Yeah.
I know Super Pets is coming out.
Yeah, Super Pets. Oh, there was also, which is like DC Vertigo, is they released another a trailer for the Sandman, which we haven't really talked about on
Ooh,
here,
yeah, true.
which looks amazing. So talk about the opposite of Shazam and being like kid friendly and goofy and not serious. You have the Sandman, which was written and created by Neil Gaiman, who's a
Yeah.
prolific fantasy science fiction writer. American Gods, Sandman,
Stardust.
just a million different
Yeah.
books. It's almost considered one of the greatest, I think, graphic novel comic books of all time, the Sandman series, just for the writing, the artistic vision. So I'm incredibly interested in this. It looks really good. The actors that they have it look amazing. They've done some really creative casting with the actors.
It's going to be a Netflix series, right?
It's going to be a Netflix series. One of my favorite characters is Death, and the actress that they got to play her looks really cool. They have Lucifer on there. They have Sandman. They have Dream. A lot of like mythical sort of characters come together and mesh. And from what I hear, each episode is going to be like its own little story.
Cool.
So that's going to be really interesting as well, as opposed to like a long
continuation.
story.
Yeah.
So it's almost going to be like an issue of a comic book, I believe is what they're saying. So really cool. I recommend Sandman to anyone that thinks of comic books as for kids or, has a preconceived notion of what comic books are. And I think that would change their mind immediately. It's such a great series. That I recommend it. Have you ever had a chance to take a look at any of the comic books by within the Sandman series?
I haven't. I've been meaning to, but I have not had a chance yet.
Yeah, it's a bit different. It's definitely not the superhero, Daredevil, Avengers, X-Men. It's its own type of comparing apples to oranges, really. So it's a completely different beast, but one that's really cool. And I really recommend it. So I'm really excited about that. More so than any other DC product that's coming out, I think this one is going to be really cool. And if it doesn't translate to, pop culture, and if it's definitely going to be a fan favorite, I think, and will be a cult favorite for sure.
Yeah, I can see that. I know they did a podcast audiobook type story thing with the Sandman that was really well received. So I'm excited for this. And I've been a fan of Neil Gaiman's work. I just haven't read any of the graphic novels for it yet.
Yeah. So that was what else did I see?
Was there anything? Let me ask you this: was there any comic book related releases that you heard of that interested you? Not movies or TV shows or series, but actually comics.
To be honest, I don't think there was a lot of comic book news from the week that I went. I went on Friday. I sat in a panel for the animated Marvel animated universe, I guess. So that was Spider-Man, that was the X-Men, that was Groot, What If. It was really interesting. I actually got to not really meet, but I followed on Twitter one of the guys that's the head of X-Men 97. Saw that he was going to Comic-Con, went to the panel, and then saw him with a group of people after the panel and got a picture with him. He was a little like, wait, you guys want a picture with us or with me? And so I don't know if he's used to fans coming up to him, but I got a picture with him. He was pretty cool.
I thought you were going to say you followed him into the bathroom or something.
No. I got a picture. I just got a picture with him. So that was cool. But yeah, I didn't really see a lot of comic book related stuff. So it was that panel that I sat in on. And then we went to one related to Street Fighter. And it was with the creators of Street Fighter. It was interesting because they had a translator and they were speaking Japanese. And they had some cool giveaways. I'm not a big video game fan, but my friend Alex that went with us is. So we sat in that panel so that he could check it out. So it was interesting. We got to see one of the new characters. I think his name is Jamie, that they're going to be introducing in Street Fighter 6. They actually had the video game out on the floor, so Alex got to play it, said it was really cool. So that was something that is really going to be cool for fans. And then outside of that, I saw a lot of cool toys, a lot of cool statues, met some cool artists. I've talked about Maria Wolf on the podcast before. She's done a lot of covers for some Marvel books, and she's really cool. I met her, was able to talk to her. I bought different posters. She signed them for me.
Very cool.
Yeah, she actually gave us some stickers for free, and she gave us some alcohol, which was a little unexpected. But she was talking about this particular type of alcohol that is very popular in Chicago. That's really strong, but is like very Chicago. Like that's like their thing. So she gave us like a little mini bottle. I haven't drank it yet because she said it's very strong. But that was really cool.
That's cool.
She's an indigenous woman from descendant from Mexico, and she draws oftentimes indigenous characters, and she sort of shared with me that she kind of really puts a lot of effort into portraying these characters. Because it's so few and far between that we get representation of indigenous people. So she really wants them to be badass, and she does an amazing job of making them badass. I think the last time I really talked to her about, either on my Twitter or on the podcast, was a cover of Sabretooth that she really did.
that was like
really kick ass.
Full on metal,
it's just badass. And so she was really cool. It's like it's really nice when you get to meet people that you admire. I very much admire her artistic skill, and they turn out to be cool people. She's one of those. So I got to meet her, bought some stuff from her. I also got to see Ed Luce, who is someone that I've met at a couple different cons. I've met him at a previous San Diego Comic Con, WonderCon, and he's a cool guy. I've have a ton of his stuff. And so I bought a book that he has a very small contribution in, but it has like a whole bunch of other queer and LGBT writers and comic book creators and artists that contributed to this anthology. So it's pretty cool. So I bought that. So a lot of cool stuff. I have like a huge bag full of like books,
goodies and stuff.
Like just more stuff to kind of fill up my comic book room. But it was a lot of fun. It definitely went by fast. The whole way that I was able to go to this event or to Comic-Con was because I volunteered for the San Diego Comic-Con Museum, which is in Balboa Park. It's really cool. They have a Spider-Man exhibit along with Rocketeer, Archie, some other really cool things in it. And while I was there on Saturday volunteering, I got to meet this professor, very similar to Professor Latin X that you interviewed, that he studies comic books, is an expert in the area, and has a book that is a collection of like early Spider-Man comics.
Oh, cool.
And he's also the co-curator of this exhibit. So he helped put it together.
That's cool.
So very interesting guy. He signed the book for me. So now I have a very cool book that has like old Spider-Man issues, who Spider-Man has always been one of my favorite characters. Sort of that smart aleck nerd, photographer, cool kid, kind of, but still kind of a nerd. So that was something else that I got that was kind of cool over the weekend.
That's cool. Speaking of Spider-Man, so I had this thought over the weekend, and now maybe it's been done. I don't know. Probably hasn't. But what if there's a comic book run or a animated series run from the spider that bit Peter Parker's point of view? So like he goes to work every day at a lab, whatever, he gets infected. And then one night he's coming home from a night out and like tells his mate or his wife, or whoever, I did something terrible. I bit this kid. I really messed up. And now he has to follow this Peter Parker around saving him. So it's not really Peter Parker with the powers. It's the spider that's attached to him somehow. I just thought that was pretty funny in my head. I don't know.
Yeah. Instead of Spider-Man, it's like Man-Spider. And he gets the ability to, like,
he's ratatouilleing him.
Like he can talk, and he has like the brain of a man now. But
it's inside a spider.
Yeah. I think it's really funny. Especially if like he was very neurotic and it would be really humorous stuff. I did a fan casting. Someone that I am friends with on Twitter posted the question: if now that there's a billion multiverses, like who's someone that who's an actor that you would cast? And so, of course, like I immediately would want to cast the X-Men or like one of my favorite comic books. And so I thought, what if there, in a multiverse, there's an all Latino or all Latin X-Men. And so I thought of Damon Bashir, who is a Mexican actor, would be Professor X. Bella Thorne would be my Jean Grey. She's a Cuban American actress who's like super hot. Who else did I think of? It was I got someone to be Scott Summers. I forget his name now. I can't think of it, but there was just a bunch of different people that I came up with to be. And the thing that while I was doing this and trying to like come up with like, okay, who would I cast? It dawns on me that like the casting agents or the people that are in power within the movie industry, sometimes I feel like they lack so much creativity when it comes to the casting. We see people like once one actor gets into it, like let's say Chris Pratt, or now is like The Rock. The Rock is like in Black Adam. Now he's in Super Pet, and it's like I don't want them to be multiple characters. Like if he is going to be Black Adam, he's Black Adam. Chris Evans was the Human Torch. He was Captain America. He's done. Like I don't want to see him in another superhero movie. Who's Ryan Reynolds was Green Lantern, and then also Deadpool. Like, are there no other actors that can play people? Like Halle Berry was Storm and Catwoman. It's like, just if you get a gig to be one superhero, that's it. You're only one superhero.
You're taking away my fan casting then for Doctor Doom. Doctor Doom, I was saying, it would be a good twist? Make Hugh Jackman be Doctor Doom. Because Doctor Doom's supposed to be like 6'2", I think, 6'3". He wears a face mask most of the time anyways. So, but there goes with that thought. Thanks a lot.
Yeah. A lot of these characters are really young. And I think it would be great to be able to give people who are young actors a great opportunity to be able to come into that and grow within the universe. So we'll see what happens. But I hope that this with Tenoch Huerta becoming Namor, it opens up the door for more Latin X characters and actors being part of MCU, part of Disney Plus. Because there is such limited amount of representation for us that it drives me crazy. And we go out and we support the films, we support Disney, we support Marvel. We deserve to have representation when it comes to these films. And just because there's as a side note, just because there's Black Panther doesn't mean we can't have like Luke Cage. Doesn't mean that we can't have,
absolutely.
Other African-American superheroes. Like it's not just give us one movie and we'll be satisfied. Like, no, like let's get more because we've seen lots of other stuff. And one movie that I think that would be really cool that has a very diverse group of characters is the Teen Titans. Teen Titans has Cyborg, they have Raven, they have Wonder Girl, they have Robin or Nightwing. They have Garfield, the Changeling. So that's a great way that they could have a lot of diversity when it comes to a movie and kind of cover all your bases and have like really cool characters and have a superhero for everyone because we all deserve it. So.
Yeah, I agree. We do. We need someone who we can see on screen and say, hey, that's us.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's it. I think that was all the stuff that I was really excited about Comic-Con.
That's cool. I mean, that's a lot. I mean, I wish I would have been able to go. I was super jealous of everyone who was there, but I'm glad you had a good time. I'm glad everyone stayed safe there and there was no catastrophic events. So that's a good thing.
Yeah. I mean, next year, if you're able to, I mean, like I said, I got it via volunteering with the Comic-Con Museum. I think you would really love the Comic-Con Museum. Obviously, there's to some logistics that you would have to work out. But it was only actually 2 days of volunteering, which probably came out to 8 hours, which is not a lot of time. So I think that's feasible. And then that way you can go next year.
Yeah, especially since I don't think I've been to a Comic-Con for like 25 years.
Wow.
And especially back in the day in like 95, 97, it wasn't as big as it is now. And it was more focused, I think, on the actual artists and the comic book creators. And that's where their central focus was at. And I didn't really appreciate it at the time because I wasn't really into comics at that time as much as I am now. Yeah. But being able to go now and meet the creators, the artists like you got to do would be just fantastic because it's appreciating their work from a distance is one thing, but being able to just meet them and, let them know, hey, your work is meaningful to me. I think that's really cool.
Yeah. Speaking of creators and being able to have a conversation with artists, I saw that you tweeted something about Sin City and it got the attention of someone really cool.
Yeah, that was fun. So I was rewatching it because it was on like HBO Max or something. Like, I haven't seen this in a while. And there's just so many good actors in it. So I retweeted out to Rosario Dawson and she retweeted it, which is interesting because she has like almost close to 1 million followers on Twitter. And then just seeing my, the notifications just go crazy because everyone was liking it and sharing it and commenting about it. I was like, wow, I feel seen. I feel like I actually belong. I feel part of a community right now.
Yeah.
So it's pretty cool.
I think is the great thing about social media is that it can make you feel very included and let you meet people that are like-minded within your community, which I think is like 5% of what Twitter is, and the rest
the rest of it just people yelling into either a blank void or at each other. Yeah.
Yeah. But it is really cool. I love Rosario Dawson. So
me too.
if she by chance were to listen to an episode of PopCultX and see that we're, just a couple of nice guys that would love to have a conversation with her, by all means, please come on to our podcast because I would love to be able to talk to her about working with greats like Robert Rodriguez, like Quentin Tarantino. She has been in some
Kevin Smith
iconic movie makers, iconic roles. She's a very intelligent, smart, beautiful, talented actress. So she's definitely I know she's on your list of people that you want to talk to. Definitely on mine as well. And so,
she represents her heritage really well too. So I think that's what's really cool.
Yeah, absolutely. So if you ever can hear this or if anyone knows, within 6 degrees of separation, I know there's someone out there that's listening to us that may know her. Please give her our info so we can get her on. We'd love to talk to her.
So consider this our Kickstarter campaign to get Rosario Dawson onto PopCultX. I like it. We're jump-starting it right here, right now, episode 66. Let's see how many episodes it takes us to get her on here. That'd be kind of funny. So, why not?
Yeah. So speaking of, we actually have a really cool guest that we'll be having for our next episode.
Yes.
Who is also very prolific within the industry, who I'm very excited to be able to talk to because he has worked with some very iconic people. I mean, really legendary within the industry, within Hollywood. He is also from my hometown.
Hometown. I was going to say he's from Tucson. So it's exciting.
I'm glad to see that someone made it out of Tucson and he is Chicano. So I'm very excited to see it. We won't mention his name so that it is a surprise. Those are some very big clues, though, I think, for anyone that is knowledgeable about pop culture. So definitely stay tuned for our next episode, episode 67. We're going to have an amazing guest. Hopefully we'll have some great insights to his career, what it's like creating shows, what it's like writing a book and working on a comic book. I mean, his hands are in a lot of different pots.
Yes, they are.
So we will have a great conversation with him and then bring it to all of our listeners on PopCultX. So definitely check us out. If you haven't already, subscribe. That way you get the notification when this episode will be posting. Definitely like us as well, because we would appreciate that. Leave us some comments. Let us know what you think about our podcast. And, maybe we'll have an interaction someday with with you as a listener. Maybe we'll have you as a potential guest if you have something that is just very insightful and prolific,
or something you just want to get off your chest. Yeah, we're here to listen as well. So
if you have something to complain about, and it's something that I hate too, which is probably very likely, then come on, we'll talk about it. We'll complain together.
Sounds good. Thank you, everyone. We appreciate you.
Yeah, thanks for listening. Stay safe. We'll see you next week.